Sooner Nation, Longhorn fans, welcome to episode 208 of the Bevo Podcast, the only podcast exclusively dedicated to covering the greatest rivalry in college football, the University of Oklahoma and the University of Texas. I'm here with my man, Kevin Miller. I am John Whitson. Kevin, let's start with Captain Obvious of the week. It's a bye week. We can take a breather. I can just talk about some stuff, get some stuff off my chest. I hate the time change. It messes with me, man. It was like 8:30 last night, and I was like going, hey, am I going to bed? I absolutely hate it. What? I don't even understand why we're still doing it.
Well, I feel like it would be cool if we just left daylight saving times permanent. That way, I like the long evenings. I like when it's still daylight at 8:30. Love it.
Dude, listen, I'm a golfer. My girls are out playing soccer. Like, just a little bit more light. Dude, this is just like, it wears me out. That's neither here nor there. I just had to get that off my chest in a public forum. Number two, both of our teams coming off of big wins. We get a breather. Now, last bye week was stressful for OU fan. John Mateer breaks his thumb. We have to have an emergency podcast. We have surgery. We start putting a timeline on whether he's going to be back. It really was a inflection point in the season for Oklahoma. So I'm hoping that we get through this bye week, just kind of like let Oklahoma, Texas can have a disaster. That's fine, right? You'll agree with that. Texas can have a disaster, but let's just let Oklahoma just kind of get through this bye week. No big news. We should be fine, right?
Yeah, it's the last thing anybody needs, right? It's just nice to be able to have a stress-free weekend, watch all the other teams beat up on each other while our respective teams get healthy and ready for massive, massive football games next weekend.
Okay, speaking of the massive, massive football games, let's jump right in there to talk about OU and Texas. I'm not so much looking for like a breakdown of the game, of either game, because we're going to do a lot of that next week. But I just kind of want to get like a feel for where you're at. So I'm going to ask this. I'm going to give you a couple questions, kind of like where the programs are at so far through this point in the season. I'm going to start with this, though. OU or Texas, who is the most likely team to win in 2 weeks?
That's a really good question. That is a really good question. I haven't really even thought about it like that.
If you had $100 just to win, nothing about the spread, nothing about anything, just one of these teams wins, who are you putting the money on?
Texas.
That is the most homer pick. My good Lord, Kevin.
Who would you pick?
Oklahoma. I don't know. It's really fascinating, though, right? Because going into the season for the Texas picks, you picked them to lose to Georgia. I picked them to lose to Georgia. I think everybody's picked them to lose to Georgia.
Correct.
Georgia is very much playing with fire. Like, they have been on the edge of so many games, having to come back against Florida, having to come back against Ole Miss.
Yeah, Ole Miss, Tennessee as well. Yeah.
It's been crazy, right? And we talk about it all the time. You've got to slay the dragon, and they definitely know how to win.
They do. They really do, man. They're hard to. You got to bury them, man. No one's been able to do that.
Yet at the same time, now at this point in the season, you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, Texas has had an underwhelming year. But, man, I look at this game and I think Texas has a chance.
I think we have a chance. I feel better about it. I'm not saying I feel great about it, but I certainly feel better than I did a few weeks ago. I mean, I feel better than I did even at the beginning of the season, before the season started.
Is it all Arch? Is it all
Arch? I think it's a big. He plays a big part of it, right? Just kind of what we're seeing with him and Sark finally coming around and calling the offense that he has instead of the one that he wanted all along. Just putting the guys in a position to be successful. I think Sark is the one who's improved more than Arch has. Arch has obviously improved, but I think it's Sark just putting him in a better position to be successful. So yeah, man, I feel like we do have a chance. But you know, Kirby, he's gonna find some way to motivate his team and get them to believe that they're somehow being disrespected despite being a favorite to win the football game. So
We're
it'll
gonna
be one they have to go and earn for sure.
we're gonna talk about this game here in a minute, or we can talk about it right now, whatever works. They have to go to Mississippi State. They're a 9.5 point favorite. It's a no-brainer that they're going to win, right? Dot
You
dot
would think
dot.
so. Yeah.
However, they played with fire. If Mississippi State at home gets a little momentum, maybe a turnover, gets up a couple scores, this is a really interesting spot for Georgia, having to go to Mississippi State right before hosting Texas, coming off of a big win of Florida. It's in an interesting, trappy kind of space. You know what I mean?
For sure. I mean, Texas fans know firsthand how difficult it can be to go to Mississippi State and going up against that Levy offense. They've got some elite speed at receiver with Brandon Thompson and Anthony Evans. They also have a decent running game too. With those cowbells, man, they can make some big plays happen and they can get you behind quickly. Texas was very fortunate to be able to win that football game. So yeah, and you know, despite their record, they just keep competing every week against some of the best teams in the country. Every week, I've seen no kind of quit from them at all. So yeah, Georgia will definitely have their hands full this weekend.
This is one of those deals where now that we're in the SEC, it sounds like an SEC homer thing to say. And I've alluded to it the last couple 3 weeks, especially when we've talked about the playoff. But you drop Mississippi State into the Big Ten, and they're a 500 Big Ten team.
Yes. And
You
in
put
the
them
Big
in,
12,
you put them in the Big 12 or the ACC, and they're at the top. I mean, they're as good as Louisville is.
I would think so.
They're
They
they're
would be
definitely
very competitive. Yes.
they're definitely as good as Pitt at 5-1 or whatever
Yeah.
Pitt is. Virginia, I mean, they really are. There's nothing from those teams, and so they're in that unfortunate spot, right, of being in the SEC. And if they don't go your way, if the talent's just a little bit down, they haven't had the most beneficial schedule either. Mississippi State, we got to play
No, they
Texas
have
in the
not.
same year, Georgia in the same year. Anyway, so that's
Tennessee.
really so then. Okay, so now you look at the Oklahoma matchup with Alabama. If I look at, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. So either Oklahoma is who they are, and the mistakes they make, and the decisions they make, and the play calls they make is just their identity, and that might not change. Or the other argument is Oklahoma has yet to play a complete game from kickoff to final, to final deal. In the games they've won, they've made it look, I would argue, too difficult. Maybe with the exception of South Carolina, it's looked too hard. And then in the games they've lost, there's just glaring mistakes, glaring weaknesses, just glaring things that make you as a fan just so frustrated, right? Like the Texas game, giving up the punt return, but even then not moving the ball. In the Mississippi game, the fumble when it happened, just the bad decisions that were made along the way in that game. And so you say to yourself, okay, if Mateer is the guy that we saw in the second half against Tennessee, and we run the ball like we ran it against Tennessee and Ole Miss, and our defense plays like they did in the second half against Tennessee, and our kicker kicks the ball like he's been kicking it, and we eliminate the really bad turnovers and really bad plays, this isn't an undefeatable Alabama team.
No, there's no team in this conference, really in the country, that looks unbeatable, including Alabama.
And so my point being is Oklahoma who they are, or do they have a chance to put a complete game together and go beat Alabama?
Yeah, that's a really good question, right? And it's funny because your biggest question right now, obviously some play calling stuff, but your quarterback is become really the biggest wild card now, because
100%.
Xavier Robinson has looked pretty solid running the football the last 2 weeks when he's got the opportunity to do so. But what we need to see from from Oklahoma is the better decision making and calm down with his mechanics. Kind of chill with the jump passes and the hero ball stuff. He doesn't have to do that stuff in order for you to be successful offensively. And at this point, sometimes you have to make things happen. But there's very little reason to ever need to jump and throw the football.
Yeah.
And if you do, it needs to be a desperate moment, and you're just not going to get away with it against talented defenses. You cannot do that stuff against Alabama.
It just it looks childish and junior highish.
Yeah, he can't help himself, man. He is a gunslinger to the core.
What we didn't mention for Texas is because they made a couple tweaks on the offensive line. Cole Hudson going to guard, keeping your center there. Same thing for Oklahoma, though. Getting Foje in there, Eddie Pierre-Louis, Fasusi staying healthy has really changed the dynamic of Oklahoma's offensive line. In addition to running the ball better, Mateer is not under a ton of duress. It's Tennessee, not Alabama. I understand the difference, but at the same time, I think you can look at this offensive line and go, this looks...
Yeah, it's serviceable.
It looks right. It looks right. It doesn't look
not.
wrong.
Yeah, it's not a disaster. It's not a disaster. And sometimes it just takes time to find the right combination of guys that it works for. Right? You've had injuries, you've had just ineffective play, and credit the coach to say, hey, we're just gonna roll with the young guys. We're gonna roll with the guys who give us the best chance to win. That's Foje. You're gonna have some growing pains, but will stabilize what we do have, and it's showing. It's showing for sure.
I don't often notice the offensive line because we talk about this, or at least I talk about that. I'm not the best at analyzing the game while I'm watching it. I'm very much the fan that follows the ball.
That's understandable. That's how
just
90% of fans people watch the game.
Yeah, that's how I watch. I just do.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to pretend. However, I will say with the current offensive line setup, it looks more athletic. It looks more dynamic. There looks like an energy level there, right? That they're looking to hit dudes, that they're looking to pull, they're looking to do some of that stuff. Whereas in the first 4 or 5 games for Oklahoma, they were just looking to survive, right?
Yeah, they're on the hill.
Exactly. They were on their heels. And I just am not getting that. It's like these young guys don't know how to be on their heels.
Right.
And so that's encouraging. I get it. Okay, so there's the breakdown of both of those kind of games, the matchups, what we're both thinking. I asked the question again. You still think it's Texas?
Yes, but I would not be surprised if you guys won in Tuscaloosa, just because I don't think that there's an elite team in the conference. Even if Alabama is the best team, I don't think they're by any means unbeatable. You would just need to play your best game, especially offensively. You know what you are defensively. You know what you've got, right? You can get pressure on just about any team you play, whether it be from your front four or from blitzing, simulating pressure. You have a lot of different ways to affect the quarterback. The simulated pressures and the blitzing had Joey Aguilar in circles last Saturday, right? He was shook when he threw that second interception. I believe you can affect Ty Simpson the same way. I think what it comes down to in this game is what kind of play calling are you going to get? What kind of game plan are you going to get? What kind of performance are you going to get from your quarterback?
Okay.
Because you need efficient football for sure.
Listen, I'm going to echo your sentiment about Oklahoma. I will not be surprised if Texas wins. It's kind of a weird year for college football. We've seen what's kind of happened in Miami, Penn State, different ways, but the things that have happened to teams like Miami and then Penn State and Florida State and some teams that you expect it to be better, and they're not as good, and some that aren't as good. And Indiana is the second best team in the country, and it might not be close. And I look at what Georgia's done. I almost look at it more from a Georgia perspective than a Texas perspective, because I think Texas is good defensively. If Arch figures it out a little bit, you're going to be okay offensively. But I look at Georgia and go, so that's kind of how I'm looking at it, right? I don't trust Georgia as much as.
Which is crazy to say, right? But it's true.
Crazy.
It's true.
You didn't think it last. I didn't think it last year.
No, they don't seem. Yeah, there's something that's just not as good, and it's kind of crazy though. We talked about this, the transfer portal, right? Not being able just to stock up 5 stars. Guys waiting in the wings. Those guys are leaving after a year if they're not getting the immediate playing time. So yeah, everybody has got a lot of inexperienced guys out there.
Let's talk about our two teams from another perspective, from the quarterback perspective. We talked a little bit about Arch, a little bit about John Mateer, but here's my question for you: did Mateer in the second half of Tennessee, and did Arch against Vanderbilt, and you can take it whichever way you want, turn the corner on their season in the right direction?
Okay, we'll start with Mateer. I thought he did some good things in the second half. I still go back to that play call and him throwing that pass, the one you couldn't get over. Are you over that yet?
No.
The interception there, fourth quarter?
Okay. According to Brent Venables, it was an RPO.
Yes.
Well, we've talked about him being a gunslinger. Like that, we've talked about him playing hero ball. And a lot of that means he's at times not making the correct decisions.
Yes.
So somebody has to be the adult, and that's okay. That's why you have coaches. Why is an RPO called? And if the RPO is called because that's the alignment you want, that's the look you want, there's got the last line in his deal is you're not throwing this ball.
Correct. Just hand it off.
You're handing it off, or you're keeping it.
Yeah, and I knew it was an RPO. I knew it was an RPO.
Well, clearly it was an RPO, but
the numbers dictate. Yeah, exactly. With the RPO, the numbers in the box will dictate the decision. So basically, the box is loaded here. It's going to be 1-on-1, but the pressure got there so quick. You can't throw that football. Even if you take the sack, it's better than throwing that football into traffic like that. And in our book, if you know who your quarterback is, don't put him. Just call a counter.
Yeah.
Just call an outside zone.
But outside of that play, which was really, really stupid, I thought he was way more efficient than he's been. I thought he was seeing the field better. And we talked about this in the first half and a lot against Mississippi. You talked about that lower leg injury and is that affecting him, and the thumb, and these different kind of things. If anything, for me, it was affecting his decisiveness, his I've got to scramble gene in the back of his head. It was kind of this. He was seeing it, but he wasn't acting on it. It wasn't instinctive to take off. I felt like in the second half against Tennessee, when he felt that play breakdown, man, he was gone. And it was like, oh, whoa, this is who we want to see, dude. This is what we want. And so if that,
he was more, he seemed more comfortable with the physicality of the game too, being able to take the hits that he didn't appear to be taking in the last few weeks.
Correct. So if he can, number one, continue to improve physically, if there is indeed something wrong with lower leg, Venables alluded to it either on Monday or one of his press conferences that there indeed something is wrong. He didn't specifically say what. So if he can continue to improve physically, and then if that can subsequently impact his mental game and his reaction time and his decision making and when to pull the trigger and when to tuck and run. The tuck and run looked really, really good against Tennessee in the second half. It was exactly what we needed when we needed it. that's the version of John Mateer we get going into Alabama for the entire game. He can't look like he did in the first half.
No.
We lose to Alabama by 2 scores at least if he looks like he did in the first half against Tennessee.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get more from the offense completely in the first half, right?
But I believe it starts with him though. Even as much as I want to run the ball, he's got to make the right decisions, the timely decisions, hit the open guys, do the things a quarterback's supposed to do. He's got to do it.
Because in this game against Alabama, if you're losing the first down battle 18-4 at halftime, if they have 250 yards of offense and you have 89, you're not going to be up by 6 against Alabama.
No, not with Caleb DeBoer.
No,
not with Caleb
they're
DeBoer,
not going to screw it up. Tennessee's
yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from you. You guys were the better team overall when it comes to 2 halves, but they're not going to screw it up like Tennessee screwed it up in the first half. Our Caleb DeBoer team is not going to.
No, we were. I agree. I think we were the better team. I think we're the more physical
over the course
team.
of the game.
Yeah, I think we're the more physical team. But if the play with our Mason Thomas and Owen Heineke doesn't happen, I'm not sure we win that game.
Yeah, I mean, you can potentially go down
2 scores,
17-3. Right? Yeah. It was 10-3 at that time.
No, it was 7-0.
Oh, it was 7-0. Oh, that's what it was.
It was 7-0.
Yeah, I mean, 2 scores on the road. The crowd goes nuts. They start pinning their ears back defensively. You start having to throw the football.
Will the Alabama environment be as crazy as what we saw at Tennessee? I'm not sure it will.
I don't know if it will. I mean, they'll be fired up because but I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be it's not going to be elevated, that's for sure. It might be as loud, but it's not going to be any harder.
Okay. That's John Mateer. Arch. In the game against Vanderbilt, I mean, dude, look, statistically he looked really good. Eye test, he looked really good. Is it a function of the offensive line? Is it a function of Arch himself? Is it a function of Sark? Is it a function of the defense he played against? What switch flipped, and is that permanently on heading to Athens in a couple weeks?
Well, I think you're seeing the development, right? We're starting to see the guy that we expected to see with him because he has a talent. Number one is the offensive line. Because all season long, if you look at the Florida game in the second half, we kind of did some tempo stuff because we were getting the crap kicked out of us. So we started trying to play fast, and you saw him make some really big throws in that game. A lot of people didn't notice him because, again, we were getting beat down pretty good. But from a football standpoint, just an X and O standpoint, you could see, oh man, this dude can really do some some special things when he has some time. And I think, I'm giving Sark credit for just really finally seeing what the rest of us have been seeing all along. We just got to get the ball to our weapons quickly and let him get into a rhythm. The offensive line, though, that's really the biggest part, is him having time. I mean, we had a play where he got to go through his fourth progression before throwing the football. That just hadn't happened at all. Yeah. And I think Sark knows that he can do that. So he's been calling those type of plays, but the offensive line has not been able to protect him. So we saw a blend of quick stuff. And once the quick stuff started happening, that opened up the chance because we can, even if he just kind of moves his eyes over like he's going to do a quick screen, it's kind of dictating the defense is trying to sprint there. Then it's opening up holes in the middle of the field for guys who are running crossing routes.
And so you said so. I want to highlight something you just said there. Arch's talent has been questioned this year. How talented is he really?
Yes.
And I don't know, through the first half of the season, including the Oklahoma game, I think it was very legitimate. I mean, whatever. But you talked about once he sets that protection and he can start to manipulate the pocket or manipulate the defense with fakes and head fakes and misdirection, he's still a Manning.
Yes.
And so he knows how to do that at an incredibly high level. The subtle little pieces of playing quarterback. Does you know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
you're spot on. You're spot on.
and
Please continue.
so now, does that mean he's always going to hit the open guy? Well, he did against Vandy. 1 out of the 9 games he's played. Is it going to continue? I don't know, but he gets that protection. If he can look off a receiver, then hit him back. He's going to look. That look off move will be as good as any look off move in the country.
Correct. Yes.
That the fundamental whatever that is, the technique will be as good as anybody else in the country because he has been taught by.
Yeah, he's been trained his whole life to do it. Like there was a play in the red zone as a touchdown. Right, it was a blitz coming. He knew he was going to get drilled. He waited, put the ball in the money, got smacked, touchdown. Right, he knew he was going to get hit the entire time, but he knows I got to take the hit because I got to make the throw. That's just the kind of guy he is. He's a tough guy. He's gotten beat up a lot this year, and I think he'll be better because of it. So I'm excited that we're starting to improve. We are appearing like we could be a dangerous football team. I'm not getting too far ahead. People are talking about, the college football playoff with this team. There's a chance, but, we still got a lot of improving to do before we can really start talking about the playoff. But I'm happy that we're still in it despite how the season has gone. We still have an opportunity this late with some of the adversity that the team has faced. I'm excited about that.
You're still in it, but man, it's an uphill. I mean, Georgia and the way A&M's playing, and I know that historically Texas gets A&M. Listen, nobody understands that more than an OU fan and the little brother syndrome that comes with that, and the fact that game's going to be at home for y'all. They're still playing really, really well. They'll be fired up. It's going to be really interesting. I just
real quick
yeah,
before we with A&M, and we both agree that they have been playing some good football. But do you have any questions about them besides, I'm not even talking about them just being A&M, just about this particular team and the schedule that they face? Like, where are you on that? Because
what is A&M's best win? Yeah, do you have their schedule?
Okay, they beat Notre Dame on the road, right? 41-40. Auburn, so UTSA, Utah State, Notre Dame, Auburn, Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, LSU.
Wow.
Yeah. And they beat Notre Dame, and on that play, that last play, I mean, they got away with one of the worst holds. You think the block in the back in the Red River Shootout was bad?
Okay.
It was a straight up tackle.
So they have not beaten an SEC team with a winning record.
Correct.
So their only win over
at least
a ranked
conference record. LSU's technically 5-3, but they fired their coach after that game.
No, I mean, I think that's real. We saw it. We saw them falter at the end of the season last year when they had to play a couple good opponents, because they were riding kind of high. They haven't had to play Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, Oklahoma, or Texas.
Correct. So the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the top 7 teams in the conference, besides themselves, the top 7 teams in the conference, they have not played yet.
Well, when you put it that way, yeah, I think there's reason to be concerned.
Yeah.
I think there's reason to be when you put it that way,
And they've got Missouri this week, but again, Missouri's starting quarterback. Last time we saw Missouri playing, their quarterback was getting air casted.
Well, I don't really like Missouri, so I don't really care. I think I like A&M more than I like Missouri.
Yeah, there's some
I don't
stuff
like.
there between OU and Missouri. I get it.
I just don't like them. I don't like them. Oh man, I don't like the fact that makes sense what you're saying, because my concern, we're going to talk a little bit about the playoff here after we go through the week 11 games, just kind of how the rankings look so far. But like right now, I understand why Oklahoma is ranked ahead of Texas. Like I get it.
In the polls,
In the college football playoff committee, whatever. However, if they're both 9-3 at the end of the season, I just don't see a scenario where Texas doesn't get in over Oklahoma.
just so you know, in the college football playoff ranking, Texas was ranked number 11 and Oklahoma's ranked number 12 in the initial CFP rankings.
Did I miss that? Oh,
I think so.
Yeah, I did miss that.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I just am. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. If you have the same record and you played head to head.
My point is, if you lose to Georgia and beat A&M, and Oklahoma loses to Alabama and beats Missouri and LSU, well, I think the nods. I'm not going to sit. I'm not going to sit here, even though as much as this podcast is supposed to be about, just blatant homerism, which I think I demonstrate pretty well. I'm not going to sit here and say, make an argument for OU to be over Texas when Texas beat us.
Yeah. And I would honestly, I feel the same way if you guys had beaten us and we had the same record. I would feel the same way, seriously.
Now,
yeah, you want to go in, you got to beat them.
Now, when I look at this record, when I look at this CFP, let's just do it since you got it pulled up. Let's just do it. It's okay.
Yeah, we'll start at the top here.
No
surprise. No surprise at the top, right? No, we'll just go through it real quick. Just slide right through. Just
go ahead.
Real quick. Yeah, Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Alabama. No surprises there. Georgia at 5th. I have no issues at this point. Do you?
No.
Yeah. BYU, top of the Big 12. Okay. They play Texas Tech this weekend. It'll sort itself out. Oregon, I get it. Correct. Oregon, I get it. Notre Dame.
Do not get it.
Neither do I.
Look, we love Marcus Freeman.
We love Marcus Freeman. No Notre Dame hate here. There are a lot of Notre Dame haters out there. I don't think we're amongst them, right? We're not among Notre Dame haters.
No, because scroll down a little bit for perspective. Their wins aren't any better than Miami's wins.
Correct.
And Miami has head-to-head.
Yes.
So if you think Miami is really the 18th ranked team, I think actually Miami might be better than that, but their 2 losses aren't very good.
Yes.
Well, Notre Dame should be a lot closer to Miami.
Completely agree.
They should be a lot closer to Miami. The A&M loss, I guess with A&M being in number 3 in the country, I guess they're getting a little bump for that. But your loss is to Texas. I'm sorry, to Ohio State.
Yes. Yeah, the Florida loss is bad. I get that. But, yeah, Notre Dame, who have they?
Arkansas.
Who have they?
Arkansas is like their next best team. Boise State.
Yeah, Boise State, they're not good. The USC wins okay.
The USC wins okay, yeah.
Yeah. But that's it.
Yeah, and I just don't see them. The problem is the committee's kind of backed themselves into a corner with Notre Dame by ranking them at 10 because there's not really an opportunity for them to lose.
No. They are heavy favorites in every game they play for the rest of the year.
We talked a couple things. Number one, we talked about this playoff a little bit on Sunday, and you were right. You were spot on with the ACC only getting 1 team in, and it looks like that's going to be the case because they don't even have a team ranked. in the top 12. And then I had talked about they're getting 2 in the Big 12, but we forgot Notre Dame in our analysis. We were going by the conferences and forgot Notre Dame. I think the Big 12 only gets 1. And I think it's going to be BYU or Texas Tech.
Yeah, so you think this is an eliminator here? Only the champion gets in.
I don't know that it's an eliminator because I still think there's a possibility they play each other.
Yeah. Yeah, Utah's lurking though, right?
Utah's lurking.
But they got losses to both of those teams above them though. That's the problem.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, BYU will still only have 1 loss if they lose. Tech will have 2 losses, but they'll have the tiebreaker against Utah.
Yeah.
So
but putting them in at 10, that's pretty high, man. That's pretty high. And like you said, they'll be favored in every game that they have the rest of the year. They've got, let's see who they got. Navy this weekend, right? Let's see who else they've got. 1 second here.
No, they don't have anybody, man.
They've got Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, and Stanford.
Pitt's 5-1 in conference.
Yeah.
Nobody else is worth a flip.
Correct.
I really feel like the right thing to do with Notre Dame would be to put them at 13 or 14. And then if there is a lot of turbulence, well, then they naturally move in. Nobody's upset about that.
Yeah.
But to just put them in now, you're basically putting them in now.
And they don't have the resume that Texas or Oklahoma has. They just don't.
Well, and BYU and Texas Tech are going to knock one of each other out. So that means Notre Dame will move to 9th. And then Georgia or Alabama, what happens if they get a loss like the aforementioned Oklahoma or Texas?
Correct.
Yeah,
it's going to be chaotic.
Are you going to drop them behind Notre Dame? I just don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. How can you justify that?
Look,
it's going to be chaos, man.
As a college football fan, and again, I like Marcus Freeman. I kind of like Notre Dame more and more as I get older. I just wish they would have gone ahead and beat A&M, and then this wouldn't even be an issue.
Correct.
They'd be 7-1, and you'd be like, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, obviously a lot of football left to be played, right? We see Vanderbilt here lurking, Louisville. It's had a pretty good season, so yeah, it's gonna be wild the rest of the year, and we'll see how this picks up.
Kevin, before we talk Week 11, let's take a minute to thank our sponsors. Brown O'Haver has been with us since the very beginning. Brown O'Haver is a public insurance adjusting firm that works for the insured, not the insurance company. You're asking yourself, why do I need that? I already have an insurance adjuster with my insurance company. No, you don't. That is the insurance company's adjuster. They are trying to minimize the payout on the claim. That's how insurance companies make money. There's nothing wrong with that. They make money when they pay out less than they take in. That's okay. That's fine. But it also means that in the state of Oklahoma and in a large majority of states across the country, that governments realize you also have the right to hire your own adjuster. That's where Brown O'Haver steps in. You can hire Brown O'Haver. They will adjust the claim for you to make sure you get the most money possible for your claim. If you want more money and you want a professional handling your claim, you want to call Brown O'Haver, 405-735-5510. You wouldn't do your own taxes, okay? Why would you do your own insurance claim? Very rarely would you buy a house without a real estate agent. Why would you do your own insurance claim? Brown O'Haver will make more money for you as well as handle the claim for you in a clean, professional manner. If you've had a loss to your home or your business, give Brown O'Haver a call. 405-735-5510.
John, a couple weeks ago, big hailstorm came through the metro, specifically Midwest City and Choctaw, right? A lot of people have damage to your roof. If you believe you are one of them, you got to give Pioneer Roofing a call, right? They'll go out, give you a free roof inspection. They will let you know if your roof is damaged and if you need to file an insurance claim to take care of that roof, right? Give them a call. Again, the inspection is free. They'll be honest with you. If you don't have damage, they'll let you know that too. You can go on about your day knowing, having that peace of mind that your roof is fine. Give them a call, 405-549-2712.
2712. Kevin, it's week 11. Starting on Friday, Northwestern is at USC. USC is a 14.5-point dog. I mean, Lincoln Riley's kind of having an okay year. Lost this to Michigan and USC. I'm sorry, Michigan and Notre Dame. Not the end of the world. Is his name up for any of these jobs that are open? Do you think? Is there any chance he leaves USC after this season's over?
Possibly. I mean, this coaching carousel is just bonkers. There's so many jobs that are open. There just seems to be more jobs that are open than qualified or at least well-known people to take them. So
100%.
you would have to put his name in the mix, right? They would have to make a call. And again, it hasn't been great for him at all at USC. It hasn't been a disaster, but it hasn't been what most people. It hasn't been what USC expected for sure, and what he likely expected at all, right? I think he expected, and I expected at least them to be in the mix. I don't think he was ever going to really win a national championship, but at least be in the mix, kind of at least close to where Oklahoma was in the mix for the college football playoff every year. And it just hasn't happened, and it seems like it's kind of gotten worse each year that he's been there. First year was good. It's just kind of gotten a little worse and worse. And they're having a decent year, but, it just never got rolling. They never had the buzz that we thought. So maybe he wants to, try something else.
Rumors going around is that, and this sounds crazy to me, but one rumor that when I heard the guy explain it, it kind of made sense, was what happens if Baylor lets go of Dave Aranda and Lincoln can come back to Texas and get back into the Big 12 where he can be an offensive heavy coach again?
Wow. It would be, I think the biggest part of that.
Is that too big of a jump in prestige?
It is a huge drop. The only way he takes that job is if his family wants to be closer to home. Nothing else really makes sense. Baylor, I mean, I feel like he can get a better job than that. I don't think he wants to be in the SEC because he wouldn't have left Oklahoma if that were the case. So I don't see him going to, LSU or Florida. But, if his family wants to be back in Texas, then it could make sense. But man, that's a huge drop off from USC, a legit blue blood, to Baylor. Man.
I look, I agree a little bit on the face of it that it just doesn't really, but I think there's a couple things. I don't think tradition is as impactful as it has been in the past. In other words, just because you're USC doesn't give you an inherent advantage like it used to, say, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I see that.
Number two, I think he knows I don't think he's stupid. And I think he knows his style of football is better suited in conferences that aren't dictated by defense.
Yeah, by necessarily line of scrimmage.
By line of scrimmage, especially on the defensive side of the ball, where he can focus on offense and just kind of get after it. And so he's made his money at SC. They're not going to be upset to lose him, I don't think. It's just throwing it out there. Just something to keep an eye on. That's all right. All right, there we go.
I could see him leaving, though, for sure. I heard somebody, like some people on Texas Tech's board were mentioning him potentially going back. Like, what's going to happen with McGuire? And why would
Oh,
he leave Tech unless he's going to LSU or something like that? I haven't heard his
but
name.
aren't they paying him though?
That's the problem, right? And he's got the Cody Campbell guy who is just the golden goose of NIL right now. And I think it would be. I don't think it would be smart for McGuire to leave that.
Are they unhappy with him? Do they
I don't
expect?
think so. Not with him being 8-1 right now. I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so either.
They're
I mean,
having
what
their
they
best season since the '08 season so far
literally game day is. We talked about this. Game day is coming
in Lubbock.
to
Yes,
Lubbock.
since first
So
time since 2008. So yeah. I don't see McGuire leaving that unless he got fired, and I don't see a reason to fire him right now. So
Indiana's at Penn State. Penn State's a 14.5 point dog. It just is another, you know, beating Penn State isn't what we're looking for here. We expect that to happen. But if this looks like a lot of these Indiana games have looked this year, it's just going to be more confirmation that Indiana's legit.
correct, yeah. They just keep showing up against everybody. They haven't had any sort of letdown game or drop off game yet. They just keep rolling through everybody. It's pretty wild, man, that they are somehow better than they were last year. And this is with a bunch of guys who transferred from James Madison.
Yeah.
So yet it's kind of ruining it for other coaches because schools are going to look at, schools like Illinois and, smaller schools, Purdue, like, why can't we do that?
Well, I think in addition to the players, I've talked about it, his entire coaching staff came with him from James Madison.
Not wild.
So the continuity of his coaching staff, I think, has as much to do with it as anything else, in terms of taking those players from James Madison that are in the system. You don't have to teach different coaches the system. It's just, plug and play types of deal.
Yeah, they bring in the Fernando Mendoza kid from Cal, and it's going great. So
Yeah, they're
I'm so curious to see once the college football playoff actually starts and what kind of a run they can make this year. Can they win a game at least?
well. I just want to see him play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. Let's start there.
Yeah,
Let's start there because that's a big game. Being able to skip a week. I know it didn't matter as much last year, but I still think skipping a week is not a bad thing.
yeah,
When
yeah.
you know,
Can you imagine if they beat Ohio State? This is a validation that it'll bring to their program. Winning the Big Ten conference, Indiana in football.
who do you pick right now if they were playing each other?
I would pick Ohio State just because,
I pick
just the
Indiana.
trip. Would
I would
you?
take Indiana. Yes,
It
with the
would
win.
at this point. At this point, it would surprise me. I mean, they went to Eugene and they kind of manhandled Oregon in
Dude,
Eugene.
the sheer margin of victory is what does it for me. That
Yeah,
they're a good team that expects to win by a lot of points.
they
So,
expect to win no matter who they're playing, no matter where they're playing.
Georgia is at Mississippi State. We've already talked about this game. Mississippi State's a 9.5 home dog. BYU at Texas Tech. Texas Tech's a 10.5 point favorite. BYU continues to not get respect. The betting line continues to go against them.
10 and
I
a
think
half, man. That's
they
a large spread.
were underdogs against Utah. I believe they were underdogs against ASU. Maybe Iowa State, I think. If I'm recalling that right. I mean, they continue to be underdogs. Look, everybody knows I tend to root for BYU. I like BYU. It's kind of, a family thing. But there's a part of me that thinks they're just not getting the respect. They're not getting the love. I know Texas Tech is pretty good, but BYU is undefeated, and they've beaten all the same teams Texas Tech has beaten.
They have, and the good thing for BYU here is that this game is at 11 a.m. and not a night game.
Oh,
Because we know how those
100%.
Lubbock crowds are. We've experienced them before. So having this game at 11 a.m., I think if I'm BYU, I'm very happy about that, especially with game day being there. Just it's good that this game's at 11.
Well, hey, we're going to pick that game. So we'll talk a little bit more about that when we go to make our picks. Ohio State's at Purdue. Purdue has a chance to maybe cover. They're a 30.5 point home dog.
Real quick on Ohio State, I don't feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of people aren't talking about Julian Sand and what he's been doing this year as a young quarterback. This has been awesome. I mean, I know he's got the best set of weapons that anybody in the country has, but some of his stat lines, he's 28 of 30 type stat lines for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, no INTs. So, just want to acknowledge what a great season that young dude is having.
Well, and he just keeps getting better with every game.
Yes. Every
right?
game he gets better.
You're seeing their growth where Mateer and even Arch have definitely been up and down and and doing just kind of weird stuff. It just seems like he's just on a constant trajectory up. And the worst game he played was against Texas.
Yeah.
That's the worst game he played and got to win. And so
got to win. Hit a touchdown pass in that game. And again, that's what having a great team around guys will do. Right? He came into the structure that was there in a system that was designed for him to be successful in.
He's better than the kid they had last year, right?
Howard, yeah.
Will Howard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, Will Howard did win the Natty, but yeah, we got to remember too, saying, well, he's a 5-star kid. He's not like he's some 3-star who's surprising us. He's a 5-star quarterback out of Southern California. So, but yeah, he's got a great infrastructure around him.
I feel like him and Ty Simpson have had a very similar trajectory though this year, where they've just continued to get better, more comfortable in the system. Everything just seemed they're starting to see the field a little bit better.
Yeah.
With every game they played, and that's where it'll be interesting when Oklahoma goes up against Alabama, is to see how a guy like Ty Simpson reacts to a Brent Venables defense, which we know.
And what's the scheme going to be like for DeBoer? Because I can't wait to see that chess match.
Oh yeah, 100%. DeBoer got embarrassed last year, and I'm not sure it's going to happen twice.
I mean, you guys just completely smacked him in a game that really mattered for them.
Well, yeah, we kicked him. Yeah, we kept him out of the playoff.
Yes, I mean, and it wasn't. The game was just never close.
No. All right. The Citadels at Ole Miss, no line. All I can say is 9-game SEC schedule next year. That's
correct.
All I'll say it.
Yeah, and enjoy it.
In a ranked matchup in the SEC, A&M at Missouri. Talk about Missouri playing with their backup quarterback. A&M yet to beat a team with a winning record in the conference. This is an opportunity for them. Mizzou is a 6.5 point home dog. We will pick this game. You almost have me convinced that maybe A&M is a poser. Do you think they roll into Missouri and win?
I think so, especially with the quarterback change. I believe they're going to be playing a true freshman quarterback. It'll be tough for Missouri. We'll see if they can run the ball though, because at times this season, A&M has struggled stopping the run. So,
Missouri
runs it well.
They've been running it really well.
Yeah, they got the Hardy kid out of Louisiana Monroe. He's been awesome for them.
Oregon and Iowa, another ranked matchup. Iowa has kind of worked themselves back up into the polls. They're a tough team, disciplined team. Oregon struggled against Wisconsin.
It was an ugly game.
Side note on Wisconsin, Luke Fickell's been given a vote of confidence and already been told he will be back for 2026. So whatever that means. But anyway,
they can't. It means they can't afford to pay his buyout, and it means they know there's nobody out there. So what are we going to do? Keep him.
Correct. That's correct. They. The biggest issue is not only can they not pay the buyout, they can't afford to get in a bidding war with anybody else.
No. Who are you going to bring in?
Yeah. And so anyway,
If we'll get on the coaching carousel a little bit, but yeah, they're down the pecking order and choices.
100%. So it'll be interesting to see what Oregon does. We're going to pick this game. Syracuse at Miami. Miami's a 28.5-point favorite. Miami, if they want to keep their playoff chances alive, needs to roll. Auburn at Vandy. Vandy's a 6.5-point favorite at home. I'm surprised this game is that close with Auburn having just fired their coach.
Sometimes you get the interim coach motivational lift. Maybe they change up some things. Who's their quarterback going to be? That's the question I have. Because they benched Arnold, they brought in the other kid. It just wasn't any better. And Kentucky lost 10-3 to Kentucky.
And they put Arnold back in, and he gets sacked 3 times. And
tough trip for them too, having to go against. And we all know Vandy's going to be motivated to go after losing to Texas last week.
Did you hear the story about how the Auburn press figured out that Hugh Freeze was getting fired?
No, I have not.
Apparently, Hugh Freeze is a huge golfer, plays golf every day, even in season.
What?
Yeah, he just plays golf all the time.
Every day?
Well, maybe not game day, but like during the week.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you play early and then you practice late. It's probably not the end of the world. I don't know. I think it seems weird to me, and I am a golfer, but whatever. Is it every day? Is it 3 days a week? Let's just say he plays golf a lot, and he has a standing tee time there in Auburn, right? Standing tee time means it's the same tee time.
Yeah, this is when I play.
This is when he plays. Well, and sometimes I guess he would even show up and just not even play, but just show up and eat and then practice, whatever. But he was always there. Tee time was always there. Well, I guess one of the reporters saw the tee sheet for the following day and saw that he was not listed on the tee sheet.
Wow.
And on that evidence broke that he was going to be fired.
Wow.
He was right.
So what's more impressive, that or the guy from Chipotle reporting that firsthand that John Batir was going to be back for the Texas game?
I love it both. I love both of them. I love both of them. Both of them are
football,
true,
man.
Yeah, both of them are true journalism. You're right. When I heard that Hugh Freeze is playing golf, Spurrier used to play golf all the time. But Spurrier also won a national championship, and his teams were winning all the time.
Yeah, Spurrier. Yeah, you ain't that.
You're not that, and it's just a bad look. It's just a bad look when you're winless in the SEC and you're out playing golf.
And these coaches are grinding. You think Venables is at the golf course?
Better not be.
No, there's no. I'm telling you, he's not.
So I just don't know. We're not picking this game, but I'm taking Vandy all day long and the points, like just all day long. Washington's at Wisconsin.
That Auburn roster just gonna get raided in the portal, man. Oh my goodness.
Look, I guess there's going to be such a thing as a Cam Coleman sweepstakes.
It's going to be too expensive. That's a problem. Oh, I take Cam Coleman in a heartbeat, but $2 million? Is it probably $2 million? It's a lot.
What year is he?
I think he'll be a junior next year.
So it's a 1-year rental. You got to pay him one time. You think it's $2 million?
Yes.
Who pays that? Let's start in the SEC. Texas? You don't think Texas pays it?
I don't know if they do.
Listen,
I wouldn't be upset if they did, but I don't think they do.
Kevin, if Texas doesn't pay that, who does?
Oh, I mean, Ole Miss.
No, seriously.
Ole Miss will pay it.
Even if they're having.
Especially if Lane Kiffin, stays put, yeah, I can see that.
That would be cool. I'd hate to see him with Chambliss.
Yeah. He's just been dying for a competent system and a competent quarterback, someone who can just get him the football consistently. I would love for that quarterback to be Arch Manning. I just don't know if Texas would do that. There were guys they could have gotten this year that they did not get into bidding wars with. Eric Singleton, who's actually at Auburn from transfer out of Georgia Tech. The
The kid at Louisiana Monroe, or did they not even offer him the running back?
I never heard his name mentioned, so I don't know how that all went down. I told you we kind
Uh,
of fumbled the portal a bit this offseason.
yeah, yeah. I think you did. I think you did largely at offensive line because
Yes,
you just
that's
did
where
not
we
have
fumbled it more than anything.
you did not have the depth you need to have at offensive
No,
line.
no.
And Oklahoma, turns out we had the depth. We just didn't use it quick enough, maybe. Or
Yeah.
maybe the guys weren't ready to
They
go
might
and
not just. Yeah, I just don't think they were ready.
could have
The
been a
Susi was
timing
always
thing.
going to start week 1 because he's just too talented to keep off the field. Foji just needed. Yeah, he just needed a few weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Washington's at Wisconsin again, 10.5-point home dogs. Cal's at Louisville. Louisville's 18.5-point favorite. LSU's at Alabama. 9.5-point favorite for Alabama. We're going to pick this game. It's hard for me to think LSU's going to put a fight up on the road. I know that they sometimes play for the new coach and they get all fired up and the hype and everybody plays really tough. Dude, on the road against Bama, is it a night game? I don't.
Oh yeah, it's a 6:30 game on ABC.
What do you think, dude? Do you think LSU puts a fight up?
I mean, I
They're
think
fought up.
they'll play hard, right? They'll play hard. I just don't know if they're good enough off. Like, what are they going to do offensively? That's been their issue all year. They haven't been
Yeah,
able to score. It just hasn't worked. Nussmeier has not been healthy all year. Every game I see him, he's limping around. He's
yeah.
grabbing on, and I credit him for playing right. Talked about this with Mateer, talked about this with Arch. These guys are really tough, right? They keep playing despite being beat up, but it just hasn't. The offense just hasn't clicked and hasn't all year. So unless they can do something there, it's going to be tough, especially going to Tuscaloosa. If this game was at Tiger Stadium, I feel a little bit better because they'd have the support of the raucous crowd there. But having to go on the road, man, that's tough.
Navy's at Notre Dame. We talked about this. Notre Dame's 26.5 points. Navy's only 7-1. It's not like Navy's a schlub of a team. It's a really big line. You decided to go ahead and pick this game. I agree with you. Their loss is to North Texas, who's not a bad football team.
No, not at all.
North Texas was in the running a little bit until they lost to South Florida to maybe backdoor into the playoff. But this is going to be an interesting game. If Notre Dame rolls, then maybe you feel a little bit better about them in the playoff. But if this game's close, I don't know. I start questioning it. And then finally, out of the SEC, Florida at Kentucky. Kentucky 3.5-point home dog. Okay, let's start with BYU Texas Tech. The line is 10.5.
I don't love the line here. I like Texas Tech to win the game, but I do like BYU to cover here. They just will ugly it up and keep it close.
I like BYU to cover, and you know what? I like them to win. I think they're a really, really good team. I think they're good defensively. I like their quarterback, Bear. I can't even think of his last name right now, but Bear,
kid
whatever.
Rocking number 47.
Oh, it's so weird. It's so weird. I don't like that. To me, that's more off-putting than Tate Sandell's shorts.
Oh, yes. I can't stand it. Remember Devin Gardner at Michigan wearing number 98? What are you doing? Just put on a number 3 and just get on with it. Yes. Stop it. 1 through 19.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Please.
Look.
I don't care. I don't care if defensive linemen wear number 1. That doesn't really bother me. But seeing quarterbacks wearing anything between other than 1 through 19, it just looks weird, man.
You don't really see like wide receivers doing dumb stuff like that. But that would really freak me out, though. If like a wide receiver wore 52.
The last thing, I mean, Michael Irvin wore number 47 at Miami. I need to find out why he did that. I know that was 40 years ago, but he wore number 47 at the University of Miami.
That's off-putting.
And again, we're talking. I mean, it's literally 40 years ago, but but really since then we haven't seen anything like that. Typically, receivers are wearing 1 through 19, and then of course the 80 is a traditional wide receiver number. The 80s.
I like BYU. I like BYU. I like BYU to win. We'll see. Definitely to cover. A&M at Missouri. You've got me stressed out about this, but with Missouri trotting out a true freshman, unless their running game just really takes off, I'm going to take A&M to cover the 6.5.
Yeah, the thing about this A&M team, right, and while I question how good they actually are, what I do like about them is that they have shown the ability to beat teams in different ways. They have beat teams by running the football, and they beat teams by spreading them out and getting the ball to their electric wide receivers.
They're really good.
They are Concepcion and Mario Craver. These guys are both super dynamic, super explosive. So I'm going to go with A&M. But man, I'm excited for when they come to Austin. I would hope that they're undefeated still.
I'd be okay if Missouri beat them. That'd be
Me too.
fine. I'd be all right. I wouldn't mind that.
Because of them, and honestly, you would hope they do because you play them, right? It just kind of gives you more credibility if you can beat them.
Yeah. Oregon at Iowa. Look, man, Oregon struggled. Iowa is significantly better than Wisconsin. Oregon struggled at Wisconsin. Iowa's significantly better. It's at home for Iowa. I don't know if they win. In fact, I don't think they do, but I do think they cover the 6.5. I could see this being another 24-20, 23-17 type of game. Oregon winning it, Iowa covering.
Yeah, Oregon up and down the last few weeks, right? Obviously losing to Indiana 30-20 at home. Then they go to Rutgers, they beat them 56-10. It's Rutgers. And then 21-7. That game was at home too. The game against Wisconsin. It was at Austin.
Yeah.
So, I think they're due for a wake up call. 86 yards passing for Dante Moore last week. Very interesting. So they've got to get going this week. I actually think they win. I think they cover late, but I do think Iowa keeps it close just because we know Iowa is going to play very sound defense, and they're going to try to keep the ball away from Oregon in that explosive offense. So, but I do have Oregon covering late.
LSU, Bama.
Alabama covering. I don't know if it's a blowout, but I think they covered.
Yeah, they covered. All right, Navy, Notre Dame. I love that you wanted to pick this game. I just because of the line. Look, dude, Navy's going to run the ball well. They're going to try to keep it close. They're going to, just like you talked about with Oregon, keep the ball out of Notre Dame's hands. Notre Dame's strength is running the football. That limits possessions for both teams. That's what I think is going to make it really hard for Notre Dame to cover the 26.5. So I'm going to take Navy to cover. Notre Dame still could win by 3 scores, and it wouldn't be so shocking. I just don't think there's enough possessions in the game for two teams that want to focus on running the ball for Notre Dame to win 20 by 26.5.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. And I heard, nasty weather, 40 degrees and raining.
Yes.
So,
Let's go. Let's go.
A lot of running the football for sure. And despite the immense talent advantage Notre Dame has, Navy just make it ugly.
Worst weather game you've ever been to or played in? I'll say or played in.
The only we had a game against Victoria, this team from Victoria Memorial, and it was wet and it was cold. It was like late. It was a playoff game. That one was nasty. The worst game that I've been to. I don't know if I've been to any real nasty weather game.
I went to OU Iowa State in 2002 when Iowa State had Seneca Wallace.
Yeah.
And Seneca Wallace was making a run at maybe even being a Heisman contender. And it was disgusting in Norman, Oklahoma. It was so wet and so cold. Oh, it was
I
awful.
hate those games.
Oh,
Oh, they're the worst.
it was so awful. And OU just beat Seneca Wallace down. I think we won like 45-3 or something.
Man.
I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
got Seneca Wallace good that year too, man.
Yeah, we got it. It was that part was fun, and to say I was there was fun. But that game, TCU in 2017 was freezing cold, like really, 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 really cold. But it wasn't wet and it wasn't particularly windy. So
Yeah.
this one was windy and wet and cold, and the trifecta really got it. Okay.
You were pretty close on that score, by the way. 49-3.
Oh, was it 49-3? Worse than I
49-3.
thought.
October
Wow.
19, 2002.
I was there, and the weather was awful. Okay. I want to close with real quick SEC openings, just the SEC job openings. I just want to talk about this just for a second. Arkansas, Florida, LSU, and Auburn. So that's 4 teams. I think there's some potentials, though, that we need to consider. Again, I think the longer people go, though, the less likely they're to fire the coach unless something just really bad happens. But I think Kentucky is still a maybe.
I agree.
Right? If he
Yes.
doesn't finish strong, he gets blown out by Tennessee. They haven't already played, have they?
No, I don't believe they have.
Yeah. So that to me is like the one left. But then I wonder about Vanderbilt, Mizzou, and Ole Miss.
Yes.
Because could those coaches leave?
Yes, exactly.
And if they leave, then obviously that's just another opening in the SEC. Outside of the SEC, I looked up potential replacements, like who are the hot names. And so I just want to throw these out there, get you to talk a little bit about anybody you see fitting naturally with some of these schools. Alex Golish, South Florida. Eric Morris, North Texas. Jeff Brome, Louisville. Kenny Dillingham, ASU. Brent Key, Georgia Tech.
Okay. Brent Key, I like a lot. And, his team, very, very physical, right? And I do think LSU likes to play that type of football. I think they like to be.
Is that a big enough name for LSU?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I think his style would fit with them. We'd have to see how he can recruit and how he does with, raising funds for NIL and all that. The problem too, though, with some of these jobs, man, is they are making these jobs kind of unwantable. The way LSU is handling this search with the governor taking control of it, it's just, oh my goodness.
Look, we can agree that Brian Kelly's a douche, right? That we never liked Brian Kelly.
No one likes Brian. Listen, he got the LSU job, and none of his assistants came with him.
Yeah, because he's a butthole.
Yes. No one wanted to go.
So this isn't. This is far from me defending Brian Kelly because I don't really. I think he's a jerk. However, he had like a 70% winning percentage at LSU.
Yes.
They had a winning record this year. I think there's an argument to be made that in the NIL transfer portal era and the 12-team playoff era, that you can't expect to go 12-0.
No.
Now,
There are several of these firings that I did not agree with, him being one of them, at least especially the timing of
it. I don't know that I agreed with the LSU fire just because you're gonna have. It comes back to what you said about like Wisconsin and the same, because if they don't get Kiffin, which they want Kiffin, everybody wants Kiffin.
Everybody wants Kiffin. He's gonna have his pick of all of them.
If you don't get Lane Kiffin, you feel like, if you're an LSU fan, I would feel like this if I was an LSU fan, that I'm settling for any of those names I just threw out there.
Yeah.
And maybe Drinkwitz out of Missouri. Do you think maybe he goes to an LSU? But does that fit him?
I don't. I know it's crazy. There's no clear guy for any of these jobs other than Kiffin.
And I think for Ole Miss, again, I just think with much like what I said with Lincoln Riley at SC, tradition doesn't mean as much.
Yeah.
You can go win. You can win and be. Look at Indiana, right? They're going to make the playoff 2 years in a row. Indiana. It's crazy. So if you're at a program that likes you, that you can recruit, that you feel supported, and you're the king of the state,
yeah,
where's the motivation to want to go to Florida or LSU and get your head kicked in?
Yeah, exactly. And just be in these unwinnable situations. And we talk about Kalen DeVore being at Alabama. He's in a pretty much a no-win situation. There's nothing that he can do that's ever going to be good enough. Nothing. He can win the Natty this year. Okay, well, the guy before you won 6 of them.
7, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just
there was that talk about DeVore going to Penn State. That's died down. That hasn't been real.
And then Matt Rule signed an extension with Nebraska.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do? To me, theirs was the worst one. What do you expect when you're Penn State? What's your expectation as a program? You got the last Natty, when Joe Paterno, when they beat Miami?
Yeah.
But was that 86?
No, 82.
80.
No,
was it 82?
83. It wasn't 86.
Was it 83? Was it 83?
I'm going to look it up real quick.
Yeah, when Miami over Penn State. Yeah, I mean, so look, I know it sucks losing every year to Ohio State, and it sucks every year to Michigan.
They said 82. They said 82 and 86.
Okay, maybe it was 86. Okay.
I didn't realize they won 2, though. Did you?
No, I forgot about the 82. But that was 86, right? When they
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Vinny Testaverde? When the camo stuff?
Yep.
So, I mean, they were in the semifinals with a chance to win just last season.
Well,
who are they going to bring in that's going to be better than that?
Listen,
Matt Rule?
Here's the problem, though. I think all of these coaches have a little bit of, not all of them. That's not true at all. I think Brian Kelly and James Franklin, and to a lesser degree Hugh Freeze, have a little bit of mitigating factors in the fact that they're not likable.
Yeah.
So in Oklahoma, the administration is looking for a reason to keep Brent Venables.
Yes.
Whereas I think at Penn State and LSU and Auburn, they're looking for reasons to fire them. Because they're like, at the end of the day, they're like, we don't really like James Franklin. And if this guy shows any vulnerability, we're going to fire his ass because we just don't like him.
Yeah, because we don't like him, yeah.
And I think there's an element to that. Does that make sense?
No,
and
yeah.
So,
at least it needs to be fun. It needs to be fun. Like, at least with Coach O, it was fun. It was always fun with Orgeron. No matter how bad they play, at least it was fun.
Well, and it's
remember, they fired Orgeron for other stuff besides the play of the football team. He was
100%. But you look at like Mark Stoops at Kentucky, which is still a potential. I mean, if they really,
if it just falls apart, yeah.
But I think there's also an element that they like him. That he's done some good things for the program.
Yeah.
They realize, who else can we get at Kentucky? Who gives us the best chance of rebuilding it? It might still be him. They're finding ways to keep him. They're finding ways to continue to work with him. So I think that's an element to it. The biggest thing, though, to your point, is too many openings, not enough names. You start getting in bidding wars over guys you don't really want to be in bidding wars over. Like, do you really want to be in the bidding war over Eric Morris from North Texas?
Correct. And Eric Morris, I mean, maybe Arkansas, if he for one of those jobs. I can't see Florida hiring him. I'd be surprised. But
This
there's no Urban Meyer out there from when he was at Utah. There's nobody like that. And like Signetti doesn't seem to be interested in leaving.
no, he just signed he just signed an extension. He's not going
Correct.
anywhere.
And he's, it's crazy. He's 64 years old.
Yeah. See,
Which is crazy for a guy who's known as an up and coming head coach.
And this is the deal, right? And this is why it's so imperative for Oklahoma to win. Not like every game, but to be winning. You did not want to get into the coaching carousel.
Not this year, especially. No. I don't think at this point in the season, I don't know what could happen for you guys to fire Brent Venables for wins and losses standpoint. Unless you'd have to get blown out in every one of your games where the team just literally quits. I just don't see.
Well, I
don't see that happening.
I don't think we lose to Missouri and LSU. I don't think we do.
Yeah.
But you lose to Missouri and LSU. Those are two bad losses this year.
They are. But man, like, can you coerce Bob out of retirement?
No. And Bob ain't coming back, man.
Yeah.
Talk about a dude that likes to play golf every day. He ain't coming back. He's living his best life.
Yeah.
He's one of those few coaches that realized, man, this is a pretty good gig. I got made all the money I can make.
Yeah, to be a fan. I'm sure he's on a payroll too somehow.
Yeah, he's
a special consultant, ambassador, or whatever.
Yeah, he's a special assistant to the athletic director.
Great. Got a probably nice little 6-figure deal coming in besides his retirement.
Look.
Yeah.
And again, Oklahoma's got the majority of their defense coming back. John Mateer coming back. Offensive line looks like it's going to be only better. You really need to figure out ways to keep Brent Venables, not lose him.
Yeah, correct. And just there's no reason to be in this. You just don't want any part of it.
Well, the
like
problem,
you said, we're not even talking about the other jobs. Like, we kind of mentioned Penn State. UCLA is open and
probably Colorado.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not going well for them this year on the field. And, when the head coach has had multiple surgeries during the season, you just have, how long is he going to do this? Yeah. So, yeah, there are going to be a lot of open jobs, and I don't know who's going to get them. If you're Kiffin, what would you do?
I thought I made it pretty clear. I'd say Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Look, man, here's the problem. The problem is when you leave, not when you leave, but the roster situation is too fluid. So it's not like you can sit there. It's not like if you're Lane Kiffin, you can go, oh, man, I like who Florida's bringing back next year with any sort of certainty.
Correct. Yes.
Right. In old days, you could. You could go like, I want that. You're like, I want that roster.
That roster is legit. I got Jaden Ball and DJ Lagway and Dallas Wilson and Vernell Brown, all these dudes.
Yeah. And now, the only thing you were wondering if you could hold together was the recruiting class.
Yes.
That was like really, and maybe you didn't want to or whatever, but like that was the only real variable. Or maybe a guy that was going to go to the pros. Like, maybe this guy goes to the pros. Maybe I can get him to stay, whatever.
Mike Brown with Ricky Williams back in 98.
100%. But you can turn the whole roster over. And it not even be your fault. Because just the kid's like, I got a better chance of getting NIL money somewhere else. I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you feel like you're going to maintain your roster and you know who your quarterback is and what is Chambliss? I don't know.
You know what? I think he might be a senior. I know he's been around for a while.
Is he really?
Let's see. Because he was at the lower levels. But let's see. This is on Ole Miss's official. He's listed as a senior.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now maybe he has a year. Ooh, they're listing him as a redshirt senior on Ole Miss's website.
So that's everything then.
Yeah, he said he played in 25 games and made 16 starts during his 4 years at Division II Ferris State. That's wild.
Zero-star recruit out of high school
And now he's making plays.
for the 5th best team in the country.
Yeah,
6th best team in the country.
crazy.
Well, anyway, so maybe Chambliss is a bad example, but even with Austin Simmons, you still feel
Yeah,
pretty
Austin
good about
Simmons,
what you
though.
got.
Yeah.
I mean, what about you? You think he stays? Well, I mean, what would you do?
I don't know, man. I think I would stay too, but is he tempted to want to be Steve Spurrier 2.0 at the University of Florida? Just because of the good resources at Ole Miss, better ones at Florida. Just closer to better talent. I know it's Florida, Mississippi, it's all SEC, but just right there in your backyard, just elite talent within a 2-hour radius. And sometimes those matters to certain players and their families.
I just don't know that he wants the headache at LSU.
Correct. I think he's looking at this search and it's like, I don't know, man, it's pretty well, at least Napier had some, struggles on the field worse than Brian Kelly ever had.
And they still supported him for a really long time.
They did, yeah, correct. Yeah, they could have fired him after last season.
They gave him every opportunity. Yeah, you're looking at LSU going, man, these people, and they are crazy, right? Those Cajuns are nuts.
They really are. Yeah, I mean, just the way the search has gone, man, it's just
all right.
You don't want any part of it.
Kevin, enjoy the bye week. Enjoy taking a rest. We'll reconvene Sunday and hash out what week 11 looked like, and then get ready for 2 massive football games.
Road games, too.
Road games. Oklahoma heading to Tuscaloosa. Texas heading to Athens. It is going to be a make or break elimination week for both teams, and it's why we signed up to be in the SEC. Kevin, have a great week. Boomer.
Okay.